Hello YouTube, it's Sign here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we are doing another light novel review. Today we're going to be looking at Reborn as a Space Mercenary. I Woke Up in the Strongest Starship, which is written by Ryoto, illustrated by Tetsuhiro Nabeshima, and published by Seven Seas. As you guys can see right there, this is part of their airship imprint, and this is the oversized trim that they have, the trim size that they have. Again, I don't know how they decide which one is large, which one's small. Bang for your buck, I think the large one is better because they both cost the same. However, in terms of storage, I think the small trim size is way better. I actually like it more. I think it's more comfortable. But I also like mass market paperback novels way more than hardcovers or, you know, digest size novels. So I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but I would prefer that they did the small ones, and preferably, since they are like half the page amount, lower the price. But I mean, whatever, it doesn't really matter. The demographic here is unclear. I haven't really been able to find any place where I can find the actual demographic for this. However, you can argue that it's YA or maybe even adult, since it does stray into adult territory, even if it does stay fade to black. So I don't know. I would definitely put it at like YA into adult, which I guess is like new adult. I think that's the right terminology, at least when it comes to Western novels. I'm not really sure though. So if you do know, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, the genres here are sci-fi, isekai, and gamelit. However, the gamelit isn't necessarily in the sense that, you know, the main character has levels and he increases those levels, but rather is that most things function in a very organized, like video game type situation. You know, the character has a guild that he confers with, that he gets tasks from, and then those tasks get done, and then he gets rewards based on what he did. So it is very like structured in that sense. That doesn't necessarily work IRL, but it does work in a video game context. So there you go. The premise for this one is a little bit hard to kind of come up with because it's not necessarily a very action-packed section of the story. Nothing super important happens here, but nothing that isn't necessary happens here. So the best way I can think of describing this novel is that it's basically the next step in their journey after they manage to escape from Tarian something, whatever, like the place that they were in before. So they managed to get to a new space station, and they're gonna stay in the space station for some time in order to get all of their, you know, medical situations squared away. They do that, and what happens is that now Hiro, our main character, and the two women that are with him, Elma and Mimi, happen to be, you know, embroiled in helping the national, or like the Imperial forces develop a pirate fighting unit, and also fight off this invasion of of like weird genetically modified plant beings from attacking this space station that they're at the end. And it's actually really fun. I think it worked really nicely. So yeah, in terms of plotline here, like I said, it's pretty good. It feels very transitional, but it is relatively grounded. Like, things happen and things continue to develop the storyline. However, the storyline here isn't really like super complex. At the end of the day, it does basically feel like this story, the whole thing, the first two volumes at least, are basically slice of life in space, but the characters have to have some amount of action to it so it stays relevant, and so they have to go on these missions to get, you know, money. However, I think that this is just because it's the first couple volumes. Once it like settles in correctly, it's gonna start getting into some deeper, you know, lore stuff, because there has been elements of, you know, setting up things for the future that does feel pretty important. Like, there's these two different federations that are close to being at war, and, you know, just one thing has to happen for the whole thing to explode, and that hero has to be a war hero for whatever nation that he decides to support, right? So I think that, you know, more plotline is coming, but for now it's going to stay pretty grounded in just like the characters getting to know each other. And honestly, I think that there needs to be a further development of the crew of the ship, because so far it's just Hiro, Mimi, and Elma. So the plotline basically mostly explores the character relations while pushing some of the sci-fi aspects forward, while they kind of stay percolating in the back, in the sense that, like, more than anything, we're focusing on Hiro's relationship with Elma and Mimi, but within those situations, you know, different things that are very sci-fi occur, right? So I think it's pretty good. In terms of characters, we get a few new ones. We get Shoko, who is this new doctor character. She kind of reminds me of Hatsume from My Hero Academia. However, she doesn't really have that like crazy manic energy that Hatsume has, but she is pretty darn close to that kind of energy. She's just a little bit more laid back. So I like her. I think she's a cool character. And I really look forward to seeing if she stays with the crew or what, or you know, whatnot. But I did like her a lot. I really enjoyed her character quite a bit. And then we get Serena coming back, which was the imperial noblewoman lady that was also in charge of the military at Tarian, whatever that place is called. And she comes back, and she is kind of like interested in Hiro for his irreverent attitude towards her. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of fun. It also kind of feels weird. Like, it's like a very fan servicey, in the sense that, like, of course this would happen in a light novel, but it might never really happen IRL, which I don't think is a problem. I just think it's funny, and I don't really know how to describe it. She kind of has this interest in him because he's so dismissive of her, which is kind of interesting there. And then other than that, we just have Mimi, Elma, and Hiro once again. However, we do get a lot of development in terms of Elma. We get to learn a bit about her physiology as an elf, and her interesting, like, emotional state, and how she cares about Mimi and Hiro, which I thought was really, really good. In terms of world building, there's some interesting locations that we get to see. This space station is run by a mega corporation, and it's this kind of like, it's just like a big building, and it's pretty interesting. There's some development of this corporation being like, you know, more than meets the eye, but not exactly. There's these different locations that they visit where they learn how, you know, the fake meat and the fake vegetables that they eat are made. And, you know, we get a lot of food technology, which I thought was really, really cool. It's something that no one really ever thinks about. It's a very hard sci-fi type of thing to include. And the fact that the author decided to include this and show us how all of this stuff happens, I think was really, really interesting. So I like that quite a bit. But there wasn't really much else in the way of world building other than that. In terms of the artwork here, I think it's great. I really like it. I like it both with color and without color. I think it looks real nice. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say about it. It's just very good. I think everything I mentioned in the first review should be more or less the same. But yeah, other than that, fan service wise, it does have some. Like I said, it does definitely go into adult territory, but it is all fade to black, so there really isn't any like sex scenes or anything like that. It's very like surface level. Like, you understand that that's what's happening, but it doesn't give you any details. It's not explicit at all. It's very much fade to black. Like, hey, we're gonna have a scene, and it cuts away immediately, and then you get like the aftermath of it or whatever. And there's some more like normal ecchi manga type fan service where, you know, boobies are pressed up against places and people that they maybe shouldn't be and stuff like that. So, you know, if you don't like stuff like that, definitely stay away from this. But it is really not that big of a deal. However, it is kind of part of the story, because Hiro and Mimi and Elma are all in this kind of relationship together. So, you know, be aware of that. And yeah, rating wise, it's a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, even if it's not like the most amazingly written thing ever, and maybe the story is a bit lacking. I did really love it. I really enjoyed it. I think the few hours I spent reading this book were really fun, and so I can't really say that it doesn't deserve a 4 out of 5. You know, so I'm just gonna give it that. However, it doesn't really manage to, you know, do anything amazing for me because of those very same reasons. Like, yes, it was fun, but no, it really doesn't have anything deeper to it. However, it does remind me a lot of like Western harem lit, and I really like that because harem lit is an interesting kind of like subgenre of the kind of not rom-com, sorry, the kind of romantic novel sphere of the West, that really is underappreciated, and that is mostly, very similarly based on harem manga and light novels, but with more adult context. And so it's interesting that this one is a Japanese novel that feels like the Western ones, where the Western ones are kind of like taking the Japanese original style and kind of making it more, palatable for Americans. So I think that's really interesting. I like that quite a bit. I think it's cool, but it might be unintentional. It just might be that this author was like, yeah, I'm going to do more adult stuff and I'm just going to do it this way, and that's all there is to it. But yeah, I recommend this title. I think Space Mercenary is a fun series. I think it's cool that there's more sci-fi, because other than like Full Metal Panic in '86, I can't think of any other sci-fi light novels. I mean, there's the Ava light novels, but I mean, those don't really, like, they count, but it's just the same as '86. There really isn't anything else other than those three. Like, it's all mecha stuff, and that's basically it. I want more non-mecha sci-fi, and I think that Space Mercenary is a good start for that, because it is mostly a romantic comedy more than anything else, and so it's cool because it can get people interested in that more like hard fiction, hard science fiction kind of thing. So I like that. Overall, I think it's good. Recommend you guys read it, and I can't think of anything in terms of similar titles, because there really isn't anything quite like Space Mercenary. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys later.